as much as like standing right next to us to as much as, you know, miles away. Just bugling all through the valley there. We went from Yellowstone down through Tetons to Jackson Hole, and it was like very cold, very clear, and just stars and moonlight and elk, and it was pretty cool. But so anyway, other differences on two-toed versus three-toed sloths. The two-toed are a little bit bigger. Don't put your fingers in your mouth though. Two-toed are a little bit bigger, a little bit quicker than a three-toed. But to describe a two-toed sloth as quicker than anything, you could only be talking about a three-toed sloth, because collectively they are the world's slowest mammals. When you're trying to do, yeah, very similar. Another similarity between sloths and tortoises is they don't maintain their body temperature. So they do not have enough of an energy budget even to maintain their body temperature. She's doing a little itch in there. Oh, she doesn't like you to itch her. Just wants you to hold her. You don't have to support her from the back. She won't fall. Yeah, just underneath the belly. I mean, not her belly. Underneath her hind end. And she will be a chill animal. So we find with most of our animals that animals mirror people. But with sloths, generally people mirror sloths. So Kevin and I have said a couple times recently that we need to put somebody on a heart rate monitor outside and see how their heart rate and respiration drops when they come in here and see a sloth. But it could go the opposite way too, because a lot of people have a very visceral reaction to holding a baby sloth for the first time, and some of them.
I mean, my heart is like something got excited and it started beating faster.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's calmed down now.
Some people just break out sobbing when you hand them a sloth, just weeping, and but you know they are chill, slow, calm animals. Not the apex predator that their skull and bones make them look like.
But when you said that about the perfume, like if I had on the lotion, after you said that, I put on like a moisturizer.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if there's a fragrance in it that got her.
Oh, absolutely. She can smell it. Yeah. Yeah. Me neither. Before I started researching to have them. But so if you've seen me doing Flash, you've seen me standing up, and you see the way that Flash interacts with people. He is not a holdable animal. So Flash came to us from a guy who raises sloths for zoos. That they're just going to be at a static display. They're not really people oriented. So Flash's encounter was 2 years in the making, getting him just accustomed to where he wanted to eat from my hand, and then significantly more time to get him accustomed to eating from someone else's hand. So that was nearly 2 years in the making. These ones come here completely people oriented. The babies that come to us from the other breeder, because he has this genius way that his mother animals are all clicker trained. So click, 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 I'm going to take the baby, but it will be back. And so it doesn't stress the mothers, and therefore it doesn't stress the babies. So from 2 weeks old, they're being held by humans for every day for 30 seconds and 45, then a minute, so on and so forth, till by the time the mother has weaned the sloth, they're being held for 30, 45 minutes at a shot several times a day. So when they come here, they're completely people-oriented. So they get all the social nutritional benefit of being a mother-raised animal. They also get all the social benefit of being a people-raised animal. So these ones, from the very day that they come, they climb up and want to hold on to you and snuggle you and just be part of the family.
How long would she let you hold her?
She'll hang around our necks for 8 or 10 hours at a time.
She's not even looking on the left
No, they're just chill.
Yeah, she's
If you've got them underneath the bottom so they realize they're not going to fall, she'll lay there and go to sleep.
But it's okay with you. I mean, unintentionally, you know, to me, this is a baby. First thing I want to do is just think,
Rock it.
kiss
Yeah.
it. I want to kiss it.
Yeah. So
No.
sloths do everything slowly. So they don't just move slowly, they digest slowly. They metabolize slowly, they grow slowly, they live slowly. So the first studies on how slowly a sloth digests its food, they put 3 millimeter glass beads into some sloth food and just waited to see how long it took them to come out. That was 61 to 64 days. So that was the beginning hypothesis on how slowly a sloth digests. No one seriously believes that anymore. The next study that they did, they put some durable dyes onto some various types of food and waited to see how long it took the color to come through. And that was actually 18 to 30 days, depending primarily on what the sloth ate. So like veggies or fruit would come through more in the 18 days into the scale, and leaves would go more towards the 30 days into that scale, because leaves are primarily cellulose. Cellulose is hard to digest, not much nutritional value to it. So, yeah. She likes to be snuggled more than she likes to be petted. So, she's kind of asleep right now. I give you some leaves to feed her. She might wake up here in a few minutes. I'll give you some leaves. Say what?
Like all over again. She's got there.
Who knows?
It's like you just wanna just lean her back and say, let me fix you, let me see your face.
So, before I had her, I didn't know sloths could be playful. She actually is playful. But, yeah. Of course, you know, sloths are nocturnal animals, so she's more playful at night than she is in the day. But the only nocturnal animal I've ever owned that would not interact in the day was kinkajous. And I think it's because their eyes are so taking in so much light that it must be physically painful to them to have their eyes open in the daytime. Because, you know, they were in a room just like this, but there were boxes built up in the corners. And there was no chance that they were coming out of those things in the daylight. Like, none at all. They like to eat dum-dum suckers, and it was cute because they'd hold them in their little hand, and they had really long tongues, and it's really cute to watch
I
it.
can only imagine they just sugar rush.
Yeah, it's cute to watch a kinkajou eat a dum-dum sucker, but even for a dum-dum sucker, they wouldn't come out in the day, only at night. That's why I don't have kinkajous anymore. That and I never got bit so much by an animal as a kinkajou.
Have you ever been bit by a sloth?
No. No, our sloths. So there are sloth encounters out there that they pull the sloth's teeth so that they can't bite.
That's cruel.
That's horrible to me, and we
Cruel.
don't know.
Very
So our sloths only do 2 encounters a day, and they like to do their encounters. So, and we don't let little chunky kids come in with them that are all amped up. And, you know, if there's an adult here that can't calm themselves, you know, we'll end the encounter. But, so safety is more important for people than animals. But safety is more important for people than animals, but comfort, I'll pick the animal over the person every time. The person can just get over it. But if it's a matter of safety, I'll pick a person over an animal every time. But,
I do that right now.
Right.
I pick the dog over dog.
yeah, I see people that have dog sleeping beds, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Then, you know, I always let the sleeps in with me, so.
Do what? Really?
Yeah, when they come, they only go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a month, so, you know, if they've just gone to the bathroom, you know it's not going again for a week, so you're good to go.
Can you imagine? I'd be like, oh, you know, here's a, young mother, you think you're afraid to sleep with your baby, roll over on it, squish it. You have a sloth in your bed.
Sometimes, not often.
Yeah. But you've had that privilege.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I'll watch TV at night, and one sloth will sit in my lap, one sloth will sit down his lap, and then I'll sit and watch TV. And,
That'd be fun.
the sloths just chill.
Y'all have children?
10,
Y'all have 10 children?
10 kids, yeah.
I love it, your household's funny.
My kids are grown.
But I bet growing up,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
have stuff like this when you were younger?
No.
Okay, it's more about them, for some sure.
My baby boy is 20, and we moved here when he was 15. lived in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Florida, Alabama, North, South Carolina, 20 years in Virginia while I was in the Navy, and now here.
So you're retired military, this is what you do.
I'm retired military, yeah, but most people live in one place their whole life. Join the military and move all over. I never lived anywhere in my life more than 3 years. Joined the Navy, and I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, all except 1 year nuclear power school and 1 year flight school. Beyond that, I was in Norfolk, Virginia my entire career. And when I was in nuclear power, I was in surface nuclear power, which is either Mayport, Florida, or Norfolk, Virginia. And they don't make you move around, you know, stay where you stay. And then when I was flying for the Navy, I flew ETC Hawkeyes, and those are Norfolk, Virginia, Bremerton, Washington, and Honolulu, Hawaii. And
You, sir, have lived an amazing life.
I have been very privileged throughout my life, yeah.
Yes.
I have, well, in the states that I haven't lived in, I lived in RV for a year. And so I have visited for at least a few days, 49 to 50 states. And I'm retired from the Navy, so if it touches water, odds are I've been. And
You were, and I'm not trying to be nosy with your business, how long have you and your wife been married?
29 years.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Cause you look young. I don't know your age.
Before we started adopting kids, we looked a lot younger, but my son Vlad, who might be watching, I don't know. Vlad put 10 years on us.
What an amazing life.
Yeah, actually, when we had all 5 of our born kids, my wife went into a restaurant and the waitress came and I was going to the restroom and the waitress asked my wife, are your parents here? And when she was pregnant with her first, they were still offering her a kids menu. And she was had the gift of youth. And so kind of the absolute salient point of the story. At one point, my horses were boarded because we had to move to a house in the city to take care of some parents. And she had never been out to the farm where the horses were boarded, and so she went out there one day. And the guy who was there said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "I'm just here to see my horse." And he said, "Oh, which one's your horse?" And she said, "Snowball." And that was the pony. And they said, "Oh, well, we've met your father often, but we've never met you, right?" And she's like, "Well, that's my husband."
Then I'll let him know.
And, yeah. And so I'm telling this story at work the next day, and this is all people who know me well. I mean, I've been stationed there for 2 years. They know me. They know me. And I'm telling this story, and they're like, "Well, John, you've got to understand when you marry somebody that much younger than you, you're going to get that." I'm like, "Well, that's the beauty of it. She's older than me." And yeah, she just gifted looking young.
Yeah, yeah. But with the wisdom of otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give her up. No, you're gonna see this little turkey's head. Talk about carrying a kid around.
She weighs about 10 pounds right now.
Yeah, just that way. Okay, so she transitions on her other.
Yeah, on the snuggie. Yeah, Ow. Good night, Zoey.
She just.
Good night, baby. Come here. Oh, zoo. Oh, I want to get home. Come here, baby. Oh, good girl. Here we go.
Oh my gosh. Secret place.
So in the wild, they say the sloth live about 20 years. And of course, they're prey animals, so their normal cause of death is being caught by a predator. In captivity, they'll live 50. So we said they eat a lot of food, or we said that they digest slowly, but they eat a tremendous amount of food. They eat 10% of their body weight every single day. So that's a ho-hum number till you think of it in our perspective. I weigh 180 pounds. So that'd be me eating 18 16-ounce porterhouse steaks every day, or 30 or 40 hamburgers every day. And yet, going to the bathroom only 3 or 4 times a month, and that's solid and liquid at the same time. So when a sloth goes to the bathroom, it loses 1/3 of its body mass when it goes to the bathroom. So,
Or is their system
no,
just,
they're good,
they
yeah.
just.
But, yeah, it just moves on through. But, I mean, so again, human perspective, 1/3 of their body mass, right? So the last time I weighed her the night before and the morning after she went to the bathroom, she was 8.4 pounds at night and 6.3 pounds in the morning. So that's 2.1 pounds that she lost, and 6.3 divided by 3 is 2.1. So she literally lost
So what you down here?
1/3 of her body mass overnight. And,
No, it's hard breathing your finger.
Oh, I'll still do my mouth.
so again, if you put that to human perspective, I weigh 180. So if I was going to drop 1/3 of my mass when I went to the bathroom, that would be 60 pounds. Bag of dog food and a 5-gallon bucket. I mean, frightful, right? So, yeah. But the food that they're eating is super low quality. It's almost all leaves. So they get very little energy out of the food. They do metabolize 2/3 of it, because if they've eaten 10% of their body weight every day for 10 days, that's 100% of their body weight. So if they go to the bathroom and they lose 1/3, that means they metabolize 2/3. So it's crazy. Yeah.
How do I do tax again? It's times .01?
1.0975. That gives you the price and the tax
0.97.
together.
Point oh. What do you
Yeah.
say?
What's the price?
Well, they're still figuring out what they want.
Oh, it's-
But just what do I multiply by?
1.0975, and that's the price and the tax together. Is what that. When you hit equal, that's the price and the tax together.
Okay.
So like, look, if you did,
I'm terrible at math, that's why I'm like, I'll figure out what they want and then I'll come back.
suppose it was 50.
Uh-huh.
Oops. Suppose it was 50. If you did 50 times 1.0975, that would be the price with tax.
Right.
Tax is
1.0975.
Yeah.
You said .01.
1.0975.
Yeah, 1 point. Okay.
Here. That number.
Alright, let me just take a picture of it.
Do you want to give them back?
Only if they get themselves dirty going to the bathroom.
Okay.
You can come get me if you need to.
Okay.
We'll let you swap. So, their energy budget is so low that they cannot maintain their body temperature. So the daytime high in the rainforest, mid-80s, nighttime low, high 60s, so their body temperature just goes up and down throughout the day. And that, if you're trying to keep a captive sloth, that is probably the biggest challenge, is keeping their temperature and humidity, 80 degrees and 50% relative humidity. So I have some staggering power bills out here when it is, 16 degrees outside, and I need it 80% inside, so you're blowing the heat all day, and then you need 50% relative humidity, so you're blowing the humidity all day, so yeah. But if a sloth gets too cold, it won't die directly of the cold. It will kill the bacteria colony that is in the sloth's digestive system, and so we also have helpful bacteria in our gut. What would kill our bacteria is the long course of antibiotics. If we took antibiotics for a long time, we need to go get some probiotics or some Greek yogurt, and that'll fix us back up. Sloth doesn't have GNC and he doesn't have Food City, so he needs a different source. So the source of the bacteria for the moth, for the sloth, is the moth. So there's a type of sloth that, there's a type of moth in the world called a sloth moth that lives nowhere on earth except in the fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. So the first theories on why sloths always go poop in the exact same spot, same tree, same side of the tree, same pile every time. The initial theory on that is they're just neat animals. So obviously that doesn't hold water.
How do we do credit card?
I'll be right back.
I I have the total ready, I just don't know how to do the card.
Oh, you gotta tap my phone.
Oh, okay.
Credit card.
How's she doing in here? Oops. So this one, she'll probably like it, her leg to go underneath your arm.
Well, I put it there earlier, and she
She
pulled it
pull it
back
back
out.
out? Oh.
Yeah, she did.
Well, you know, she does have a mind of her own.
She's already.
So, yeah, she just doesn't like pressure on her back. So just take that hand away. Yeah, she'll hold on to you.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy? I mean, that different.
So I always say just create a ledge for her, but anything like pressure here, she's like, stop
She
it.
hasn't moved in a while.
So she definitely knows. Hi, Zoey. Yeah. No.
It's like don't do it.
Yep, she just likes this right here on the back of her neck.
Okay.
Yep. So nothing on her face, chin, stomach, and then she doesn't. So you, a lot of people think you'd hold her like a baby.
Yeah.
You know, like really snug,
Instinctively, that's
but
what
she
she
doesn't
wants.
want to be restrained.
Yeah.
Well, she likes being touched, but they're all gonna be. It's not just her. It's sloths in general. They're not affectionate, and we think us as humans are like, well, everything just wants to be squeezed, but they don't. So they like to hold on to something and feel secure, but they don't want to feel restrained. And they don't want to be rubbed and touched all over like a puppy or a cat.
Like
Or a
instinctively
kitten.
we think every animal
Exactly.
wants a good scratch.
So that's us thinking that all animals want that, but they don't. Good. Well, so the other thing too is sloths are solitary animals, and so their natural instincts isn't to be coddled and affectionate all over. Now, she likes being secure, and she likes hanging out with people kind of like in her own way. If that makes sense.
I will
Yeah.
hang with you the way I want to.
Exactly right.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I had an encounter with her this morning, and it was a good example because, like, I was sitting there with her like this, and she had her legs around me, and she would just lean all the way back, and the lady that I was doing the encounter with, she's like, "Oh, catch her," and I'm like, "Oh, no." She wants to, like, lean back, and she's totally fine moving how she wants. And then I put my hand underneath her back to show her, and Zoe's like, I was like, she doesn't like that. She wants to move around in her own way, and you're kind of like a tree. You're a tree. Yep.
I gotta run to the house to do their cards and get their sweatshirts, and I'll be back.
2X black.
Okay, all right.
Hey, I want, hey.
Oh.
Here's my shirt.
Oh, what did you get?
I don't,
We have t-shirts, and then we have the sweatshirt. Do you know what size?
I would probably go with the medium.
Okay. So
You want a t-shirt or?
we just have black in the medium. We just have black in the medium. With the, like, the little sloth on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll bring one.
2X and one's medium.
Okay.
Zoe, we're not causing.
Hi, Zoey.
She looking for you.
Hi, you. Hi. I know.
You guys think there?
Is that what she's
Maybe.
telling you?
Is she telling you she's ready?
No, not necessarily ready. She might want a snack, which is what we'll try.
Well, that's right, he said we're gonna try that.
Yeah. She might be looking for a little afternoon snack. She likes her spinach leaves. Hey, Zoe.
Are you hungry? Oh. No.
Yeah, there we go.
I wish I liked spinach as much.
So that's better.
Mama had.
Do you trust that spinach? I mean,
Mhm.
do you all clean it or do you?
It is, I think this one's non-GMO. This one's not organic. We usually do. But, we don't wash it on top of. Look at those precious little teeth.
Why you gotta eat upside down? She doesn't have a lot of teeth, just like those.
So she has 16 teeth total, but it's just the ones in the front are really what you kind of see. Every now and then I'll catch her yawning, and she'll open her mouth really, really big, and then you can really see all of her back teeth. So she's just got the 4 up front, and the rest are all in the back. Those are geese. Those are the American buff geese, is what those guys are called.
Excuse me, you know, yeah, I'm not,
Ostriches or emus?
Emus.
Not
Ostriches are a lot bigger, and yeah, like probably double the size of the emus. They do look a lot different. The males especially, the males are big, like black and white, and they don't have feathers on their neck, it's just like bare skin. And then the females are like brown.
what would she do if you let her get your hand, would she try to pull?
Probably, like if I grabbed onto this, she would probably pull my hand into her. She wouldn't necessarily try to like pull. So in their natural environment, they're reaching for branches to pull them closer to them.
Can
So, well, she's eating right now, and so she would think that it's food. Hi, Zoe. So she's what she's doing now is like instinctively reaching for branches to feed leaves to herself. Is kind of what that is. I know, I'm hurrying.
Her little nose looks so leathery.
It's actually really soft. Yeah, and she would normally have a higher humidity, and so it would actually be like snotty wet would be ideal.
Of course, with this environment, just for us to come snuggle her, I mean, does it hurt her though? I mean, that's
What?
not running and snotty like.
No, it doesn't hurt her. No, it's just you can see kind of like in her nose,
Yeah.
it's a little bit crusty.
Yeah.
So as soon as she gets a little bit of humidity, then that's
It
not
just-
it goes away. Yeah.
It clears itself.
Right.
How far back can she went on
Oh, a lot, like all the way, yeah. So you don't need to put your arm
You
back.
don't have to worry.
No.
She's not gonna fall.
Yep, let's see if she'll come back a little bit. Come on. You can do it. There you go.
She's reaching. She'll pull you.
But yeah, no, she has more muscles in her core than the three of us combined. So it is definitely very easy for her to lean all the way back and be like fully suspended without any support.
I got a good picture of you. From watching like the little video yesterday, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you gotta use the sloth, your indoor soft voice,
Yeah.
slow movement. Don't wanna upset her.
Okay, I didn't give this the back part. Mine in the place.
But that's instinctive for us though.
Yeah,
Cause we feel like they need that and
yeah, we need that back
doesn't.
support.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. It'd be interesting if she just tells you later.
Yeah, she's like,
In her nice little way.
Yep,
She's
she's
trying to
got
scratch her back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Michelle, just as great idea.
yeah, sometimes she'll reach around and just scratch, but I can tell the difference between a scratch and a
And a
swat. Yeah.
I see the squat last
Yeah.
time, when I got it, I was like, she was like, move your hands.
Yep. Yeah, usually I end up just hand feeding them, so that way I know they're getting their stuff. So like Franklin, back here in the corner to my left, he got cucumber last night, which has a lot of water content. But these guys, they can go, what, like a week with no food and 2 weeks with no water, or no, the other way around. A week with no water, 2 weeks with no food. Not that we do that, but so they are not like an animal that you feed twice a day, you know, a lot of food. So
But I was sitting there when I was holding her, and you know, she feels so heavy, and she's like, she's fat as a little whatever, you know, but then when he's talking about her, the way they poop,
it's all buildup. Yeah, no wonder she's heavy.
crap.
Literally.
Literally.
More Zoey. Are you done? She's like, yeah, I'm done.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Michelle, did you get the right side of my face?
I got your good side. I got your good side, yes I did. You obviously love animals as well,
I do,
otherwise you wouldn't be here.
Very used, I grew up with animals and like, I don't even know where to, grew up with animals more like on the, not necessarily farm side, but equestrian horses and rodeo. And then, I have, and actually he's one of the birds that he comes to work with me, but I've had a umbrella cockatoo, a parrot, for 16 years. He's 35 now.
Oh,
And so he gets to come to work with me, which is awesome.
But who's, and I hate being this person, but one of these days, somebody else is gonna have to take this, right?
Well, so ideally, because he and I are very similar in age, I'm 38 and he's 35. So ideally, we grow old together and just die on the same day. You know, and just solve all
My
the
wife's
problems.
cockatoo is virtually guaranteed to die on the same day as her,
Why do you
Yeah.
say that?
because I hate it.
I was like, don't say it. John, don't say that.
I shouldn't say these things on live. Oh well, it is what it is, right?
They're very destructive.
They are, yeah.
They are.
They are, yeah. You need to provide a lot of toys, a lot of enrichment for them, and that's what he's doing right now, is just destroying all of his stuff. And that's one of the things is bird owners or new bird owners, they buy toys and they're like, I buy all those bird toys and then he just destroys them, so I'm just going to quit buying toys because he just ruins them. I'm like, that's what they do. Yeah,
My
he loves them.
my ex-husband had one. They're both gone, unfortunately, but anyhow, no, maybe, never mind. He was a escape artist. I mean, he had a big, huge cage, but
Oh, yeah.
one day I come home, he had gone out of his locks. My mother had bought me a strand of pearls when I had my first child. Pearls everywhere, set and snipped between every knot.
I bet he had just a blast doing
Oh
that.
my gosh, you know he did. He would get out when he would escape many, in our area, Robertino, Jim Gray, Gatlinburg area and all that. He would sit and he would chew the picture frames. I mean, destroy, these aren't cheap picture frames, destroy them. Baseboards, everything. He was bored.
Yeah.
He was truly
They
bored.
will find something to get into if you don't provide them with something.
I was not
Yes.
a good bird mama.
They will get into things.
You hear about the murder case that's around the bird? So, lady, this bird rescue knew she really, really wanted a bird, but you know, she couldn't afford a bird. And one day they had a bird there and they said, you know, got a bird, it's free, but it's got some really colorful language. And they're like, and she's like, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, the bird has been the mascot in a house of ill repute for the last 10 years. He's really got a vocabulary on it. And the lady's like, well, you know, I could live with that. She brings the bird home. And that afternoon, her husband walks in from work, and the bird says, hey, Frank.
Oh my God.
That's awesome. Busted. She is. Yeah. And she's right back to sleep. She ate some spinach while she was gone.
Did she? So, if you guys watch us regularly on our lives, see how she's almost the point of a little fat booty right now. See how she's pear-shaped?
She got
So right after she goes to the bathroom, she'll be basically cylinder-shaped. And then over the next week to 10 days, she'll just keep getting wider and wider and wider and wider, and then whoop, right back to normal.
We had this conversation while you were gone.
Oh, did
Because
you?
that's when I was sitting there talking, you know, it has to be miserable for one thing, obviously not to them, but what a relief.
Yeah, right.
It's like I'm skinny again. Women try
So
this
we,
diet.
The guy who breeds these sloths, he's involved in the life of the sloth forever. So we send him pictures of their poop and their diet and their face and their body and
He
you
can
know,
tell.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, he's basically on a hotline that we talk to him like every week. And so I have disturbingly many sloth poop pictures in my phone
I wanna see one.
where I send them off to him. So that's my whole hand under that, and that's her poop last week.
Okay, I know this sounds gross, but that doesn't come out like in one,
That's one, yeah, that's,
so her little
That's
hand
like-
does that?
yeah, that's like half of it, the rest of it is broke up, and it like came down through the bottom, and so it like smashed going down, but yeah, that's like half of one,
But it looks healthy.
yeah, yep, and as a keeper of sloths, you have to be a sloth poopologist, because the best way to know what's going on in them is what came out of them. Kinda like your baby, you know, you don't just change the diaper, you look what was in it. And, so yeah, if the little ball, if the balls there are falling apart, that's too dry, that means, you know, check the humidity and maybe give them an extra serving of fruit. If it's at all runny, that means no fruit for a week.
How often does she drink, or does she get hurt?
She has water offered to her all the time. That's her water dish right there, and she has another one in the house. But very rarely do sloths drink. They get most of their moisture from their food, yeah.
And I guess the leaves and
Yeah,
all that.
so their primary diet is leaves. In the wild, they eat at least 75% of everything they eat is gonna be leaves.
Her
And,
nose is just like right here sleeping,
you know,
and she's so content.
no, actually, she's wide awake. Yeah, you can tell by how quickly she's breathing. which, for a sloth, that's a quick breeding. But, she's
I
wild.
love that, she really, so
And
she's
the
taking.
reason
it
she's
in
got
her-
her nose right here is she's feeling you speak. So she is feeling the vibrations of your neck when you speak.
In your heart,
Yeah.
and thinking you're gonna do
You can,
something
like,
wrong.
You can like hum, and she'll dig your nose in there a little bit deeper when you hum.
I see your presence.
Yeah, the sloth is experiencing you.
Oh, wow.
Yep, she's snuggled in there, she's, body to body, she's, just experiencing people. But yeah, these sloths, hang around our necks for hours per day. And, well, she talks on the phone and types on the computer and sends you texts and, has a sloth hanging around her all the time. So if you've ever talked to her on the phone or got an email, just know there's a sloth in the background somewhere.
How many do you have on property right
Three.
now? Just,
Yeah,
okay, one
three.
in the house, one here, and this one.
Yeah, these two, and Dash is in the house right now.
And Dash
And I
is
just
the
did a
younger
picture last week of, 3 sloths in the same shot. There happened to be a guest here that my social media guy had been saying, you need to come down here in a white shirt. And I called him, I'm like, hey, there's a guest here in a white shirt. Do you wanna get that picture that you've been talking about?
one. Why?
Cause, the baby sloth is super dark colored. And so it showed up really good against a white shirt. So that's Flash, and that's Zoey, and that's Dash. And there's a few different ones there you can flip back and forth if you like.
Oh, baby, baby.
How old is that one?
He is 5 months,
And how old is the other?
13 months. Her birthday was December 16th. His birthday is August 10th.
When does Dash get all that to do this?
His booking calendar just opened up this week. It's not a matter of age, he has to be off quarantine, and he has to have been,
Social.
he has to have been around a certain number of people that are not on staff before we do encounters with him, to know that, he's not gonna be nervous to be around people that are not who he sees every day.
He's a
But,
big boy hanging up there. Flash.
But yeah, Dash just started his encounters,
Flash.
or his booking calendar just opened for his encounters this week.
Okay,
and,
what's this one's name?
Flash,
Flash, Zoey, and Dash.
yeah. And, the next one, if we get a girl, next will be Chloe. My wife says Zoey and Chloe, Flash and Dash.
Get it?
And,
Love it. I hate to think the pictures in your phone.
yeah, there's,
Her hair and her texture.
you'd be surprised some of the pictures in my phone, especially when I have to take pictures to my vet. Some of them, like one of our horses ripped its eyelid just about off this summer. I'm sending him pictures. But that horse's name is Ace. Ace has been here since he was weanling. So, coolest thing about Ace is that he is not aware that it is hypothetically possible for a person to be mean to an animal. He just wouldn't know that that's even possible. So when he is like just tore up, just lidocaine, local anesthetic, still there while we sewed his eye back together. That's a pretty trusting animal.
And he's okay now.
Yeah, he's
He's in
fine.
hospital, fine.
Yeah.
You know, what a fortune an animal though. To never
Well, and our
lose
vet
anyone.
is here, all of our animals know our vet. The only one that doesn't like him is Coda. He used to we were trying to put in soft paws on Coda because he climbs, and, he's a co-op Monday. And he sits on my shoulder and he uses just like, before he learned how to climb up and without just digging in like he's climbing a tree, man, I was just tore up all the time. And, so we were trying to put soft paws on him like what you put on a cat. And oh, he hated those things. And to this day, he hates the vet because the vet would be putting soft paws on him.
Now, what is he?
Koala Monday,
What is that?
South American version of a raccoon.
Never heard of it.
There's a lot of animals here. But, and the difference between this and a zoo is here, it's up close and personal with animals like this. You don't, and it's, so goals of this business is glorify the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in everything we do and say, and make a quiet place for people to make memories with their own family and friends, doing things they can't do other places. And,
Love
so,
it.
yeah, so, we work very, very hard, but we like what we do. And I honestly feel like the Lord has put me in this particular time, this particular place for a particular reason.
Go down.
And I get to speak to an awful lot of people on an everyday basis that would never show up at church. And, just be like, hey,
And they don't have to get saved in church.
well, no, and, I mean, I recently was in Turkey, on the Seven Churches Revelation tour, and I'm like, so, these people all over the world want Western culture and Western music and Western food and Western clothing, and they don't want Western religion. Why is that? And all I can think is it's because, on the whole, we do a terrible job of representing, love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, meekness, kindness, temperance, self-control. And we're supposed to be a city on a hill and a light, salt and light in this world. And if we did a better job of that, maybe they would want Western
Yep.
religion.
Yep.
Because I don't think they understand how awesome it is to have a Savior that actually loves and cares about my everyday existence.
And I think unfortunately with some, it's just they're afraid, they have that fear of, it's gonna change my heart, which in turn I won't be able to do all these things that I enjoy doing now. I
Yeah.
think that turns people, scares them.
Well, and I grew up, my dad was a Baptist preacher. I was in church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday evening for my entire life. And